Hi everyone, this is Emily Bates, and today we're going to be doing our literary elements lesson. And you can obviously tell I'm in my husband's office because my friend Gary is with us to be our character for the day, okay? Because today we're going to be learning about literary elements, and what that is, it's going to be talking about setting and characters and what happens in the beginning, okay? What happens next? And really we're going to be focusing on how to retell a story, okay? So we're going to be picking up on all these details to be able to retell a story. And this is super important for kids to be able to retell a story, to pick up on details of what they've seen and what they've heard so that they can tell other people what they've done, okay? And so this is getting the correct details so they can't make up a story that's already within a real story. And so what they're going to be doing is they're going to be learning about, okay, what details are important, okay, where is the story and who's in the story, and we're going to go through that. So Gary is in my story today, he's my character. And so yesterday, we did the beginning, middle, and end of the story. We learned how to pick up on those, how to see, okay, what happens in the beginning, that's the very first part of the story, and how to tell what happens then. And so what we're going to do to review that is we're going to read the story of the tortoise and the hare. And so what we're going to do at the end of that story, we're going to talk about, okay, well, remember, what is the beginning, what is the middle, and what is the end, and they're going to tell that to me. But first, let's read it. The hare was once boasting of his speed before the other animals. "I have never yet been beaten," said he. "When I put forth my full speed, I challenge anyone here to race with me." The tortoise said quietly, "I accept your challenge." "That is a good joke," said the hare. "I could dance around you all the way." "Keep your boasting till you've been beaten," answered the tortoise. "Shall we race?" So a course was fixed, and a start was made. The hare darted almost out of sight at once, but soon stopped, and believing that the tortoise could never catch him, he lay down by the wayside to take a nap. The tortoise never for a moment stopped, but went on with a slow but steady pace, straight to the end of the course. And then I'm going to ask questions like, what do you think is going to happen? Who do you think is going to win? And so they're going to tell me all their answers. And the people that probably haven't heard this story is going, oh, the hare can still catch up. But we will see, my friends, we will see. So when the hare awoke from his nap, he saw the tortoise just near the winning post. The hare ran as fast as he could, but it was too late. He saw the tortoise had reached the goal. And the tortoise said, "Slow and steady wins the race." So this is a classic story, a simple story for children to understand of, okay, what happens at the beginning? Okay, the hare was bragging about how fast he was. What happened next? The tortoise challenged him to a race, and they started racing. And then I'll ask him, what did you think was going to happen? And they're going to tell me their answers, and I'll say, what did happen? And they're going to tell me, the tortoise won. And I'm going to say, oh my goodness, can you believe it? Did you think that was going to happen? And just hear their answers and hear what's going on inside their little heads, because it's going to be a lot of interesting questions. And then I'm going to ask them, okay, what happened at the beginning, what happened in the middle, and what happened at the end? So that's what we're really focusing on in this story. But then we're going to bring to class the story rope, the retelling rope. This isn't a rope. It would look a lot better when I'm in my classroom printing out good graphics, but this will do for now. So it has things like setting, okay, where the story takes place, and characters, problem, what went wrong in the story? Did the evil witch come? Is there a race to be done? And so the beginning, what happens next? What happened then? Finally! And then there's going to be a solution. So what we're going to do is we're going to retell the tortoise and the hare story and go through every one of those after we've already explained, okay, what is this setting, where the story takes place. Usually when a story starts, it's going to be in a place. The author is going to tell you, this is where they are. They're in a forest, they're in a castle, they're in a jungle, they're under the sea. Like, it can be anywhere you could possibly dream of, the author can put you there. And so the setting is probably on a race course or outside or in a field, something like that. And so our characters are the tortoise and the hare. And then the problem, the hare was boastful, they wanted to race. So this race is going on between a tortoise and a rabbit. Like, what? And so then what happens at the beginning? It all started when the hare was bragging about how fast he was. And then what happens next? The tortoise challenged him to a race. And then the hare, he took a nap. And then finally the tortoise won. And so that was a solution to the problem. The tortoise won. Slow and steady wins the race. And so the kids are going to kind of see that, okay? And they're going to get individual sized ones of these, but obviously cuter, that they can keep at their desk and kind of, whenever they read the story, they can go through it and remember, oh, this is an important thing that I'm supposed to be looking for as I read. Okay, and so that's going to be our beginning lesson. And so then, this is the good part. This is when we're going to read our book. And I love to read books. And so the one I picked out was Gator Gumbo, a Louisiana classic. And this is written by Candace Fleming and illustrated by Sally Ann Lambert. And this is very important for kids to know who wrote this book and what is the title of this book, as we're going to see after we read. Gator Gumbo, a spicy hot tale. Let me tell you about Monsieur Gator. Monsieur Gator, he lives in the bayou. Oh yes, he do. He lives on the edge of the swamp, He has big claws, big teeth, and a big appetite for sure. But Monsieur Gator, he has a big problem too. And this is easy because it says he has a problem. So we obviously know this is the problem of the story. And I'm going to say who. Okay, so obviously Monsieur Gator, he's a character. And so he lives on the bayou. So we already have our setting and our main character and our problem on the first page. So this is going to be awesome for the kids to see. You see, Monsieur Gator, he is getting old. He is growing gray, and he is moving so slow. Ooh, I tell you, that gator moves slower than sawgrass grows. He moves slower than a snail with sore feet. And they're probably going to laugh at that line, because a snail with sore feet? I don't think snails have sore feet. He moves so slow that he cannot catch himself a taste of possum. And so obviously we're going to see this is a possum if kids don't know what possums are. Or a bite of otter, or a whiff of a striped-tailed skunk. And oh, them critters know it. So they know. See, this one, he has a little arrow, and this one has a slingshot. They're beating up on Monsieur Gator because they know that he can't get him. He's too slow and old. They sass Monsieur Gator. They tease Monsieur Gator. They pester Monsieur Gator something fierce. They smarty pants chant, try as hard as you can. You can't catch us, 'cause you're an old man. Poor Monsieur Gator. At every meal he wipes away his tears and moans, Sacre-Dieu, vegetables again. So he's very sad. I'm going to say, why is he so sad? Because he eats vegetables. He wants meat. See, he's getting mad. One morning, as Monsieur Gator eats his thin breakfast of leaves, moss, and roots, Madame Possum comes tail hanging from her tree. Yoo-hoo, Monsieur Gator! She calls as she swings back and forth, just out of reach. Am I looking tasty? Am I looking good? Monsieur Gator, he clamps tight his jaws and doesn't say a word. So Monsieur Otter comes first shaking from the water to join in making fun. Oh, I'm so scared, he mocks. Please don't eat me. He sticks his paws in his ears, sticks out his tongue out of his mouth, and goes, nya nya, poo poo. Monsieur Gator, he grinds hard his teeth and still doesn't say a word. You can see he has a recipe book in his hand. It's got a pot on it. So Monsieur Gator's got something on his mind. So Madame Skunk comes sashaying from her log. She wiggles her striped fanny, puffs her perfume, and asks in a sugar-cane voice, Do I smell like lunch? Then all three fall on their backs, kick up their feet, hold in their bellies, and laugh till they cry. And Marshall Gator, he gets hot. Red hot. Hotter than Gumbo! I'm gonna cook up some gumbo just like Mama used to make, he cries. So Marshall Gator, he builds up a fire. He sets a big pot over the flames. He calls out to them slap-laughing critters, "Who's gonna fill this pot with water so I can cook up some gumbo?" "I ain't," snickers Madam Possum. "I ain't," snickers Marshall Otter. "I ain't," snickers Madam Skunk. "Then I be doing it myself," Marshall Gator said. Splash, splash, splop. That water goes in the pot. Pretty soon, the water is bubbling hot and the steam is rising high. Whoo, but them critters ain't never seen anything like it. They stop their guffawing. They take a step toward the pot. Says Marshall Gator, almost like my mama used to make. All this gumbo needs now is some claw-pinching fish. Who's gonna catch the crawdads? "I ain't," smirks Madam Possum. "I ain't," smirks Marshall Otter. "I ain't," smirks Madam Skunk. "Then I be doing it myself," says Marshall Gator. Hoop, peel, drop. Them crawdads go in the pot. Well, it doesn't take long for that sweet smell of crawdads to up and tweak them critter snouts. They step closer to the pot. Says Marshall Gator, almost like my mama used to make. All this gumbo needs now is some health-building greens. Who's gonna pick the okra? "I ain't," snorts Madam Possum. "I ain't," snorts Marshall Otter. "I ain't," snickers Madam Skunk. "Then I be doing it myself," says Marshall Gator. Plop, slice, plop. That okra goes in the pot. The next thing you know, the smell of tangy okra and sweet crawdad sets them critters' lips smacking. They step a bit closer to the pot. Says Marshall Gator, almost like my mama used to make. All this gumbo needs now is some tongue, flaming flavor. Who's gonna grind those spices? "I ain't," sniffs Madam Possum. "I ain't," sniffs Marshall Otter. "I ain't," sniffs Madam Skunk. "Then I be doing it myself," says Marshall Gator. Mince, dice, chop. Them spices go in the pot. And you guessed it, the smell of sharp spices, tangy okra, and sweet crawdads get them critters' bellies grumbling. They take steps even closer to the pot. Says Marshall Gator, almost like my mama used to make. All this the gumbo needs now is some long grain fluff. Who's gonna make the rice? "I ain't," snaps Madam Possum. "I ain't," snaps Marshall Otter. "I ain't," snaps Mademoiselle Skunk. "Then I be doing it myself," says Marshall Gator. Pour, scrape, glop. The rice goes in the pot. Well, I tell you, there ain't nothing like the smell of white rice, sharp spices, tangy okra, and sweet crawdads. That savourous aroma of it all drives them critters so wild, they rush right to the edge of this pot. Says Marshall Gator, almost like my mama used to make. All this gumbo needs now is some hungry folks. Who's gonna help eat it? Me, cries Mademoiselle Possum. Me, cries Marshall Otter. Me, cries Madam Skunk. Huh, said Marshall Gator. I filled the pot, and I called the crawdads. I peeled the okra and ground up the spices. Heck, I even added the rice. So now, I'm gonna eat this gumbo all by myself. As you see, they're very sad that he's gonna eat it all by himself. So he pulls out a big spoon and he dips it deep in that gumbo. Just one taste, begs Madam Possum. One taste, please, begs Marshall Otter. One taste and we won't tease you no more, promises Madam Skunk. One taste, asks Marshall Gator. Is that all? Yes, cries all them critters. Well, I suppose, says Marshall Gator. He kind of has a sneaky face. I guess we'll see what happens, if he shares or not. Slurp, slip, plop! And them animals go into the pot. And Marshall Gator, he sniffs that delicious stuff. Says he. Now this is gumbo just like my mama used to make. So the kids are going to be like, he ate them! And so this is pretty much the story of the little red hen who didn't have any help making bread. And so obviously they weren't allowed to get any if they didn't help. And so obviously Marshall Gator, he gave them a little bit so he could have them. So it's a cute story that the kids are going to be like, this is awesome! And so what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the retelling wheel. And so every student is going to get one of these. And it's got pretty much the same kind of questions as on the retelling rope, but they're going to have a little brad and with a little spinning arrow. And what they're going to do is we're going to have a big one of these drawn on the board or on the smart board where it can turn by itself. Something where we could have it up on the front of the classroom. And I'm going to have students come each one by one, and they're going to do it. And so the first one is, who are the main characters? And so the student is going to tell one of the main characters, so the whole class can get a chance to answer. And so they're going to see the main characters are Marshall Gator and Mademoiselle Possum and Marshall Otter and Madame Skunk. And so those are the main characters. And so the second one is, where and when does the story take place? And so they're in the bayou. That's all you need to know pretty much, is they're in the bayou. And number 3 is, what happens at the beginning of the story? So they're going to say, like, Marshall Gator is very hungry and the critters are making fun of him and different things like that. And so number 4 is, what is the problem? Well, Marshall Gator, he's tired of eating leaves. He needs some good food. And those critters are picking on him, so he wants to do something about it. And so how is the problem solved? Marshall Gator makes some gumbo and the critters fall in, so he gets the best of both worlds. And then that's all that's on here. And so they're going to get in partners and they're going to go ahead. Oh, and on the back it's going to have the title and the author. So they're going to have to realize the title and the author are very important when reading books. And so what they're going to do is they're going to have individual one of these. And I'm going to get them to pair up. And so after that, they're going to retell their story to their partner. So they're going to spin it, and whatever one it lands on, that person is going to answer the question again. So they're going to get the story really good in their minds and be able to retell that to a different student. And this causes group bonding. It makes them make new friends and gets them out of their comfort zone to retell a story vocally to their friends. And so then we will be the early finishers. Oh, no, the homework first. Homework, of course. And so they're going to be given the choice, and they're going to get a worksheet, and it's going to be have the words of setting and characters with a big space next to all of those words that were on the retelling rope. And they're going to be asked to draw a picture to kind of describe what those are. So setting, they might draw a tree, or characters, they might draw stick people or something like that. Or the second option is they can take that worksheet home, and then they can get their parents to read them a story or a book and kind of write what all those things are. So they might get them their parents to read them the story of Jack and Jill or something like that, or Jack and the Beanstalk, and they're going to write all those things next to those big spaces. For my early finishers, they can read a short story like Little Red Riding Hood and be able to go through their story thing and retell the story to a partner who finishes early, or just write it down or say it in their head. And then my student with special needs, those with a reading disability, will be paired with a paraprofessional. And they're going to go and read the story aloud again of The Tortoise and the Hare. And then they're going to go have either the story rope or this, and they're going to go through each one of those things, probably the story rope because it's a little bit more detailed. And they're going to go through all of those one by one, rereading the story, looking for the details, and grasping that concept of, okay, where is this? Where are they? And so they're going to have a paraprofessional help them with that. And then my English language learners will go through the story with me in the back to make sure that they understand the teeth, mouth, and tongue placement of all the words so that they're saying the words right. Probably won't do this with Montreal Gator because it's got lots of crazy French words, but I mean the French students will get it. So, and then for those students that just don't really understand, we're going to come later in the day, come back to the table, get our story ropes out, and we're going to go through it again. We're going to read through the story. We're going to go one by one, kind of breaking it down like, okay, what does this mean again, and how does this apply to the story? Okay, what are characters? Are the people or animals in stories? Who are the people and animals in Tortoise and the Hare? And so they'll be able to go through individually, one by one, being able to do that. And then for those students who totally understand, got it, no big deal, they're going to be given the same worksheet that they'll be given for homework. They can either start their homework early or be given this worksheet again, so they'll get it twice. And they'll be asked to read a story of their reading level. So this could be an easy book in the classroom, or I'm going to have stories printed off, just short stories that are classics, like Little Red Riding Hood, Jack and the Beanstalk, and they will have an opportunity to read that by themselves and go through their story ropes and answer all those questions on the worksheet, kind of being able to do it by themselves because they're already ahead of the game and do that. So that is my lesson. Obviously, tomorrow we're going to be talking about antagonists and protagonists, the good guys and the bad guys in the story. But this is today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't bore you with my book, but it's awesome. I love it. Gary says to tell y'all hello and that he thoroughly enjoyed being in this video, and I hope y'all have a great day. Thank you for watching.